What's good, family? So mash the like button and subscribe. Wow. So Deontay Wilder's manager Shirley Winkle has come out and exposed Team Lyson Scary, aka Tyson Fury. Essentially, bottom line, putting out the fact that they never received any dealings regarding step aside. There was no attempt made by Team Lyson Scary to really make the Undisputed fight. That's what Deontay Wilder's team are now alleging, officially. I'm going to bring you, man, the quotes here because this is truly shocking. It's not even shocking because what do we know? The YB told you, man, this at the time. I didn't believe there's a lot of channels, a lot of shill channels, a lot of Lyson Scary channels shilling the whole, oh look, Fury offered 20 mil and he don't want to take the 20 mil. Fury offered 20 mil, but Wilder don't want to, all this kind of stuff. Yeah? Wilder wanted 20 mil, giving it all that there was. I never believed it myself, and you can check the channel. I never once did a video saying Deontay Wilder turns down 20 mil. Why? Because guess what? The first place we heard 20 mil, where did it come from? Lyson Scary's big mouth. And what do we know about Lyson Scary's big mouth? He doesn't know how to tell the truth. Guess what? Lyson Scary was the first man to say the AJ fight was done. He was the first man to say the Wilder fight was done. And he was the first man to say Wilder wanted $20 million episode. Oops. Every single one of them was a lie. He lied about the Undisputed fight with AJ being done. He lied about the Wilder fight being done for July 24th. And he lied about Wilder demanding $20 million. And again, on every single one of them occasions, what do we know? He did it in a particular way. He came out with the AJ Undisputed fight. Who was the first man to make a big video? Sounding off like a big hard ass. He was. When the Wilder July 24th date, who was the first man signing his contract all in the video? Yeah? Deontay Wilder 20 million step aside. Who was the first one making a video saying, oh, $20 million. Oh, I'll fight you first. Oh. Who was it? You know what I'm saying? It wasn't Wilder saying, you know what, Fury? I'll take you 20 million and then I'll fill you in afterwards. He didn't do that. Anyway, let me give you, man, the quotes here because the YB right now is fuming. What we do know is the Lyson Scary pyramid of fraud is falling apart. MTK Ultra are going through it. All their cover-up works, all the people they've employed to maintain the lie, Tyrone Booth and whatnot, they stressing right now because the truth is leaking out. The truth is leaking at the seams. This is what Deontay Wilder's manager said in regards to the topic, in regards to the $20 million step aside. We were shocked and our lawyers said they were shocked from their side that they have made no offer, that Team Fury made no offer before we won the case. They first tried to vacate the lawsuit and they lost, but there was nothing from their side, which I thought was short-sighted, but that's their choice. There was never a discussion. Fish Eyes Frank Warren at one point said to me, would you guys take a 7-figure walkaway? And I said no, and that was it. That was the only discussion and effort. AKA there weren't no discussion and effort. Weren't no discussion and effort. Where was this whole 20 mil thing coming from? That Fury made a big video about. He wants 20 mil. No, your team initially hinted, oh, do you want 7 figure? That was it. There weren't no trying. There weren't no nada. How about that? There weren't no trying and there weren't no nada. Fish Eyes Warren, I don't know what he was doing. If anything, if I was to bet, I bet Fish Eyes Warren was doing some reconnaissance to try and get some entrapment going. If Winkle had said yes, Fish Eyes would have been like wicked. You know what I'm saying? We've got a great excuse now. Now we can make out Wilder's all money hungry or whatever. We can find a way to wriggle out of all things concerned. So in a way, I'm glad that Winkle said no. Because they wouldn't have paid him to step aside anyway. They was always going to say, no, we'll think we'll take the Wilder fight. Why? Because guess what? He ain't planning on doing the Wilder fight either. How about that? Fury's plan, what we know now, Fury's plan was all along, was to fight no one. That's a fact, is it not? The fact is, in quarter 3, Fury's plan was to fight no one. Because guess what? He ain't fighting no one in Q3. There was an AJ fight was supposed to be done, there was a Wilder fight supposed to be done, and we're seeing none of them. That's what Fury's ultimate plan was. You know what? How can I not fight for the longest period possible? And he's managed to pull it off. Because he knew, wait, if I sign the AJ fight, I'm going to have to fight in July, August. If I sign the Wilder fight, tell you what I can do, I can pull out of that one. That's good, yeah. And you can always tell when Fury's lying. Because he comes with a lot of emotion. He always makes some sort of hit piece about it. As I've explained at the start of this video. And that's a key thing from now on I'm going to take. Whenever I see Fury real confident about something, other than fighting a bum, I'm going to know that he's just lying. I mean, check this as well, historically speaking. What else do we know? Do you remember when Fury came out about Dillian White saying, "Oh, WBC! Oh, WBC Diamond Belt! Oh!" That's what he said. WBC Diamond Belt, I'm going to fill Dillian White in. WBC said, yeah, no problem. And he went missing. He disappeared. So again, when License Scary comes out and starts shouting off about something, then you know it ain't happening. And actually, on a positive note, having said that, on a positive note, we haven't heard License Scary come out and shout off about the October date. So to be fair, that might actually be happening, because we haven't heard, I don't know, maybe I haven't seen it. I haven't seen a big video from License Scary shouting off about October 28th, or about October 8th, or whenever it is. That Wilder vs Fury 3 date, I haven't seen a video of him shouting off yet, so it may actually be happening, you know. Because for me, that is a big telltale sign. When I see License Scary going crazy about something, it usually means it ain't happening. That's what it does mean. So we may actually get this October one, because it's quiet. But anyway, I thought it's interesting hearing from Shirley Winkle. Now, I'm sure, let me say something right now, because I'm sure there's people saying YB, but Shirley Winkle lies too. The reason I'm taking what he says at face value is because, number one, as I've explained to you, man, License Scary is a bottom now. When you're a bottom, it means I'll take anything anyone says above what License Scary says. That's just what it is now. I'm sorry. I've heard it all from him and his team. Especially, let's not forget the whole C19 saga that's played out. That was, for me, was the ultimate. Couldn't believe it. Not only did we miss the July 24th date, the way it was missed, just full of lies. So that goes a long way. And also, to Wilder's credit, he's the one who was trying to push this fight on, by the way. He was the one who took Fury to court. So as much as Wilder has been super scary to fight AJ, to be fair to Wilder, at least he never signed something he didn't want to do, if that makes sense. Wilder's fully scary, he don't want no parts of AJ, but whenever he does commit to something, he does it. Fury, he messy. He'll commit to something and pull out and take people to court over it. Just messy. Just grimy. If you're going to be scary, just stay scary. Just be real scary. Don't be signing things, gassing the fans up, making people book tickets, and then pulling out and trying to play the victim. Talking about how if anyone's not to blame, it's me. I've pulled out with my fake illness, but I'm the last person to blame. And then wheeling John Scary out, your dad, to shill for you as well. Mr. C19 isn't real, but all of a sudden my son's got it, so now it is. You know what I'm saying? It's goofy. But like I was saying, back to the whole... I think it's important to touch on Shelley Winkle's credibility, because I don't really believe half of the stuff that comes out of Shelley Winkle's mouth. The only parts I believe coming out of Shelley Winkle's mouth is when it's to do with License Scary. Because the other part of this equation is the fact that what makes me laugh the most is these two teams for a long time. What do we know? For a long time, License Scary's team and Deontay Wilder's team used to lick each other's gooches. Didn't they? Oh, Eddie Hearn, yeah, look at us. We're one big happy family. Kiss, kiss, kiss. That's what they were doing, 100%. And now, They've both found out how it is to deal with each other. And now, this ultimately, I want you, man, who think AJ's always the whatever, he's always the bad one. I want you, man, to seriously look at this now, because guess what? I've never seen someone who fights AJ who's ever found themselves in this situation. I actually find it shocking that people actually did believe for a long time that it was AJ who was ducking Wilder. Even British people. There was a certain British contingency who believed AJ was ducking Wilder, and even to this day, to be fair, AJ was ducking Wilder, AJ was ducking Scary, Licensed Scary, and these two men. And in fact, one of the key narratives from British fans has been, YB, of course AJ's ducking, because look, Fury and Wilder, they've fought already. And in fact, that's not even just British fans thing. There's quite a few famous boxers in that. I'm pretty sure I've heard Lennox Shillis. I'm sure I've heard Lennox Shillis say, well, Wilder and Fury, they've fought, so AJ's clearly the suspect one. Oops. What we now know is, it was all happy families until it wasn't. And now Wilder and Fury's team, or mainly Wilder's team, have found out what it's like to be on the receiving end of goofy behaviour. And I hope Wilder learns from this. Because let's not forget this, Wilder for a long time over this last year has made key comments like, oh, I could have taken the AJ fight for more money. I could have done this, I could have dealt with proper business people. Like I told you, man, what we do know is, when AJ signed a contract, we've never heard nothing like this, ever. Never. Never heard of anyone having to take someone to court, never. In fact, all we've heard from people who have fought AJ, all we've heard from people who have genuinely wanted to fight AJ is glowing things. People can't wait to work with AJ again. People are queuing up to work with Team AJ again. Oops. Wilder, I wonder how many times you're going to be queuing up to fight Fury again, to fight Lyson. Oops. Yeah? So it just goes to show, for all you British contingency who thought AJ was a scary one, what do you have to say now then? Over this last year, where we've heard it all play out, we've heard Wilder begging and feeling sorry for himself that he didn't fight AJ instead. It's all coming out in the wash now, isn't it? You man looking fully silly. And that's one thing I never understood about this whole thing. We've never heard no one critique doing deals with AJ until it got to Wilder and Lyson. Isn't that amazing? Not one person. And we're talking the biggest paydays as well, by the way. Every single fight, every time people fight AJ, it's the biggest fight. Never hear no one say nada. Oh, until we get to Wilder and Scary. AJ's, even despite being the clear bona fide A-side, he gives that up and says, you know what, let's just do it straight down the middle. He concedes that, and still, some goofy British contingency dons telling me about, well, why, but Fury and Wilder have clearly fought, so it must be a... Oops. How'd that working for you, having to go to court to get the fight, which he then pulls out of anyway? I've never heard of AJ. In fact, that's a point. I've never heard of AJ pulling out of a fight full stop. Never heard of AJ people having to sue AJ to get him in the ring. Yeah? From now on, I hope people bear that in mind. And most importantly, Team Wilder. It's no good exposing Team Scary, like he did today, telling us that he didn't even try and make the Wilder fight. Which is, I thank you for that. I thank you for letting us know information, or for confirming information we already knew. It's all well and good doing that, but really, you need to apply apply what you're saying now yourself to the future. Don't just expose Team Lyson, and then if you do beat, because Shelley Winkle goes on to say in his interview that, we're going to get our belts back. If you do get your belts back, Wilder, please don't start acting super fruity again, and act like nothing's happened. What should happen is, you should humble yourself and say, you know what, AJ, we've just dealt with a clown, we had to take to court, he's been pulling out, he lying, he goofy. You know what, we appreciate doing good business with good business people, reliable business people, and for mega monies. We took that for granted, which is the truth. That's the truth. The truth is, Team Wilder took all them things for granted. You just assumed, well, we'll fight Fury, I think, because it's an easier touch. Little did you know, you won't be doing that. Because Fury will nick your belt, and he'll run off with it. And for 2 years, you'll be taking people to court, trying to take people to court to try and get it back. And even then, you don't get it back. Because he's missing. He's pulling out. So we all need to learn a lesson here. Not we, because the YB and the YB's dons don't need to learn no lesson. But you slow looking asses need to learn, take a deep breath and learn the lesson right now. No doubt. But Lyson, you're exposed. You ain't want the AJ fight. What you really wanted was no fight. You just want to swan around with your belt on. You want to swan around to the UFC fight. People say, YB, you don't make sense. So you say that Fury didn't want the Undisputed fight, but of course he wanted one fight. No, he didn't. He didn't want no fight. He wants to have a WBC belt and to swan around to the UFC events with his shirt unbuttoned. Yeah? With Sugar Smith next to him, with a big thick chain on, and his shirt unbuttoned. That's what he wants to do. How do we know this? That's what he stays doing. Guess what he doesn't stay doing? Fighting. That's how we know he don't want to do that. Lyson Scary, he's not a rocket. He doesn't have a rocket science personality. You don't have to read too much into it. Just watch what he's doing. He stay partying. He stay at boxing events. He stay chanting. He stay chanting for the football team. What don't he do even once in 18 months? Fight. There you go then. Game, set, and match. No doubt.